1813 hours. September 20th, 1944. Sergeant Peter Robinson of the 2nd Grenadier Guards sat in his Sherman's commander hatch at the south ramp of the Nijmegen road bridge. Nearly 600 meters of steel, German hands, wired to blow. On the far bank, SS Grenadiers from the 10th SS Panzer Division crouched inside the bridge's upper steel girders. 3 88mm anti-tank guns covered the northern ramp. The German commander had already given the detonation order. Minutes earlier, yet Major John Trotter had shaken Robinson's hand at the bridge approach. "Don't stop for anything," he ordered. Then quietly, "I know where you live. I'll let your wife know if you don't come back." If you want to see how Sergeant Robinson drove his tanks across that bridge while SS troops tried to blow it from under him, here is what I ask. Hit subscribe. It is your way of saying this story reached you. Drop a like if it moved you. And tell us in the comments what you know about Operation Market Garden. It helps us bring more stories like this to life. Now back to Robinson and the bridge that was never supposed to survive the afternoon. Operation Market Garden launched September 17, 1944. The largest airborne assault in history. Nearly 35,000 Allied paratroopers dropped into German-occupied Holland to seize a chain of bridges ahead of British XXX Corps armor. The plan demanded perfection. General Montgomery's strategy called for XXX Corps to race north along a single highway from Belgium through Holland. If the armored column linked each paratrooper landing zone within 48 hours, the door into Germany's heartland would open. The highway acquired a name quickly: Hell's Highway. German ambushes hit the column at Eindhoven, at Sun, at Weggel. XXX Corps fell 36 hours behind schedule. The paratroopers holding bridges to the north were running out of time. Yet the critical obstacle was Nijmegen. 2 bridges crossed the 400-yard Waal River there, a railway bridge and a massive road crossing. Both remained in German hands. Without them, XXX Corps went nowhere. The 82nd Airborne Division had fought through Nijmegen's streets since September 17th. 3 days of grinding urban combat against entrenched SS troops had cost them heavily. Sergeant Robinson's regiment arrived in the city on September 19th. Major John Trotter commanded the assault squadron. His second-in-command was Captain Lord Peter Carrington, 25 years old, a peer of the realm, who would one day serve as British Foreign Secretary and Secretary General of NATO. Trotter selected Sergeant Peter Robinson to lead the crossing. A Dunkirk veteran, regular Army through and through, known for nerve under fire and precise tactical judgment. His gunner, Guardsman Leslie Johnson, was the steadiest shot in the troop. General Gavin's plan split the problem. Colonel Reuben Tucker's 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment would assault the Waal in canvas boats 1 mile west of the road bridge, seize the north bank, then clear the bridge's far end. At 1500 hours on September 20th, Tucker's men climbed into 26 canvas assault boats. The Waal stretched 400 yards ahead. German machine guns opened the moment the first hull touched the current. 28 Americans died crossing the Waal that afternoon. Men paddled with rifle butts. Boats sank. Men swam. But Tucker's survivors reached the far bank, drove north under fire, and cleared the road bridge's north end. Now it was Robinson's signal. His 4 M4 Sherman tanks, each mounting a 75mm main gun and 2.30 caliber machine guns, were lined up at the bridge's south approach. Nearly 600 meters of wired steel lay ahead. The bridge was fully wired with German demolition charges set into concrete piers. Lieutenant A.C.G. Jones of the Royal Engineers would follow Robinson's tanks in a scout car, and cutting detonation wires as they crossed. Robinson had already swapped into a replacement tank. His original Sherman's radio had failed during an earlier probe. At 1813 hours, Major Trotter gave the final order: "Don't stop for anything." The engines rose to full throttle. Sergeant Pacey led, Robinson followed. Sergeant Knight and a 4th crew brought up the rear. The steel roadway of the Nijmegen Bridge rang under their tracks. German fire erupted from all directions simultaneously. An 88mm round struck the roadway directly ahead of the lead tank. The detonation sprayed concrete across the deck. The ricochet rang off hull armor. No penetration. Robinson held his heading. He did not slow. SS Grenadiers from the 10th SS Panzer Division were lashed to the bridge's upper steel girders, armed with Panzerfausts and grenades. Their orders were to drop ordnance directly onto the passing tanks from above. The angles defeated them. But Guardsman Johnson elevated the coaxial machine gun and raked the girders overhead. Dead and wounded SS troops tumbled from the steel superstructure onto the roadway below. Robinson's tank did not slow for any of it. Sergeant Knight's tank was struck mid-span and disabled. The crew bailed onto the exposed bridge roadway under active fire. Knight examined the hull. No fire, no penetration. He ordered his men back inside. They remounted and continued. At the north ramp exit, a German anti-tank gun sat behind a concrete chicane, covering the final 50 meters of bridge. Johnson tracked it through the gun sight, fired 3 rounds of high explosive. The gun ceased to exist. Robinson's Sherman burst through the chicane at speed. 2 SS soldiers broke and ran. The machine guns found them. The tank came off the north ramp fully intact, and the Nijmegen bridge stood behind it, still in one piece. From his command bunker east of Lent, SS Brigadefuhrer Heinz Harmel had watched the British tanks begin their crossing. He gave the immediate order to detonate. The signal found nothing. Silence came back through the line. Dutch accounts credit resistance member Jan van Hoof with cutting the detonation wires days before the crossing. German accounts blamed technical failure under pressure. The cause remains disputed. The bridge stood. That alone decided everything. Robinson pressed north through the village of Lent, and a German self-propelled gun appeared at a road junction ahead. Johnson fired before the enemy crew could traverse. The SPG crew abandoned their vehicle and ran into the dark. Ahead in the fading light, figures appeared from roadside ditches in American jump smocks. Robinson's hand went up. Cease fire. His radio crackled with the recognition call. Those are our feathered friends. He waved. Captain Moffat Burris of the 504th PIR emerged from the ditch and stared at the approaching Shermans. His company had crossed the Waal in canvas boats 4 hours ago. He stood in silence for a long moment. The Nijmegen road bridge was declared secure at 1910 hours, September 20th, 1944. Lord Carrington organized the North Bank bridgehead immediately, rotating his tanks to cover each approach road while engineers swept the structure for remaining charges. The bridgehead held through the night. 2 armored thrusts from the 10th SS struck the perimeter before dawn and were turned back. Tucker's paratroopers held the east flank. Carrington's tanks held the road north. By September 21st, tanks of the Welsh Guards and Irish Guards were crossing the Nijmegen Bridge northward. Robinson's single crossing had unlocked the route to Arnhem. What lay beyond those 11 miles was another matter. Arnhem was already lost. Colonel John Frost's 1st Parachute Brigade had held the Rhine Bridge's north end for 3 days against overwhelming SS armor. By September 21st, they were overrun. At the last bridge was a bridge too far. Market-Garden failed strategically, but the Waal crossing, paratroopers and canvas boats against machine gun fire, 4 tanks charging a wired bridge at dusk, entered history as one of the war's most audacious combined actions. Major Trotter submitted Robinson for the Victoria Cross. The citation described a troop of tanks, 4 vehicles, direct anti-tank fire, a wired bridge, crossing without hesitation or deviation. The award came back at a lower level. Robinson received the Distinguished Conduct Medal, the second highest decoration for enlisted men in the British Army. Guardsman Johnson was also decorated. Lord Carrington received the Military Cross. None of them discussed it publicly for decades. Robinson survived the war, returned to Essex, and became a postal worker. He spoke rarely about September 20th, 1944. In 1994, on the 50th anniversary, The city of Nijmegen awarded him the freedom of the city. He was 77. At the Nijmegen road bridge still crosses the Waal today as the Waal Brug. Thousands of vehicles use it daily. On the same 600-meter span. Over the same river. In the same Dutch sky that fell dark on September 20th, 1944. A memorial plaque on the bridge's south ramp commemorates the Grenadier Guards assault of September 20th, 1944. Each September, the regiment's colors are adorned with a wreath. The bridge still bears their name. The date does not fade. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more forgotten stories to light. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?